Welcome back to Black and White Banter, ladies and gentlemen. 8 minutes later than planned because that's just the way, with technical issues being the norm, that's just the way Black and White Banter does things. I hope all is well. I hope everyone has enjoyed what has been a pretty positive first week of the season after 3 points on Saturday. That's all you can really ask for. The manner of the win, which we'll touch on a little bit in this video, was quite an interesting one. But we have got the first away day of the season coming up very, very, very soon on Sunday down at Bournemouth. Longest away trip, I think. Longest away trip of the season. 2:00 kickoff, Sky Sports FU. But on this live stream tonight, I've got a couple of guests who anyone who watches these videos quite regular will know their faces. We have all of the news and the goings on that is happening with Newcastle at the moment. We're then going to dive into the match preview. There's going to be some facts. There's going to be some stats. And we will go from there. So please, everyone, comment. Let me know your thoughts. Get down. Let us know what your Friday night's looking like. Doesn't have to be football related. The more comments, the more likes, the more engagement with this video, the better. And it'll be nice to see some familiar faces. And I'll share some comments as we go through. Right. Anyway, enough of that yabbing at the start. Let's get some people in the building. Right. First up, let's get Lee on the stage, it gets called on these live streams. Not quite a stage. Not quite as daunting as a stage. Right, Lee, how are you?
Not too bad, mate. Yourself?
I'm not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. Like I say, Newcastle United are 3 points better off than we were this time last week after Saturday's win. And yeah, confident going down to Bournemouth on Sunday. But like I say, we'll talk about all that good stuff in a couple of minutes. Let's get second guest on tonight. Let's get another familiar face. Adam in the building. Adam, how are you? I tell you what, you've upgraded your setup since the last time you were on one of these. You've got the Newcastle badge nicely placed. You've got like a bit of an angle going on with the camera. I like it.
I didn't set it up, mate. Yeah. Anyway, I just want to apologise, Matthew. I want to apologise for just disappearing on you when I saw you after match.
Do not worry about it. I understand what that traffic is like, and you've got a longer journey than the average Newcastle fan, mate.
I had mother-in-law's wedding anniversary.
Well, there you go then. Well, there you go. You know, we've all got our commitments. And, you know, I'm not going to hold it against you. You didn't jump on an interview because you come on these plenty of times, so that's good enough for me. So I'm not going to hold that against you. Do not worry. Right, gentlemen. So, lot going on at the moment. Yes, we'll talk about last Saturday's game in a little bit leading into Sunday's. But, of course, Newcastle being Newcastle, well, it's the transfer window, so I guess every club's got things to be talking about. There are a couple of things going on in the news, on the daily, happening right now. So obviously the big one at the moment that Eddie Howe was asked about today, which we'll just get this conversation over with before we dive into match stuff, is, of course, if I can just share a lovely photo on the screen. This was Eddie Howe's latest thoughts on Kieran Trippier. The Kieran Trippier, what it feels like it's turning into a bit of a saga, actually, the last week or so that it's been. He's news. Eddie Howe said today that he cannot guarantee that he'll be still with the club. Bit of a funny one for me, this. I think this one's pulling at a lot of Newcastle's heartstrings because of who Kieran Trippier is, when he came into the club, and everything that's gone since. He's seen us progress. He's seen us rise into the Champions League. And yeah, he was here at the start of it all when the takeover first happened. But he wasn't playing, you know, he didn't play on Saturday against Southampton. And he's just come back from the Euros thinking he should be playing in the first Premier League match of the season for whatever club he's playing for. So, first and foremost, first question, I'll start with you, Adam. What is your thoughts on, firstly, Kieran Trippier wanting to leave? Like, do you think he's right to want to leave, or you're a little bit disappointed that he's already looking for a way out? But, well, if we let what we led to believe is true.
Exactly, Matthew. I was speaking to my missus, obviously you know Kimberly. I was speaking to my missus earlier and I went, we don't know what's true, but as I don't know if I told you when I saw you on the Saturday, me and Kimberly came up to Newcastle on the Wednesday and did a stadium tour. because we couldn't get tickets for the Saturday, but lo and behold, we did. In my birthday week, got tickets. But the guy showing us round led us outside Trippier's his box, and the plaque had been removed that morning, and he was shocked. And because I had my knee in a brace, I got tucked in the service elevator, and he said, "Let me show." Yeah, I know, funny, yeah, lovely, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. But he said, "Read into it how you want." He said, "I was shocked because he'd already done one tour, and he come to the board where all the players' names and Trippier's had been took off, and he went, read into that how you want," and I went, ah. And then obviously this is coming out with Sean Dyche. But then this morning, I was watching Sky Sports News, as always, and then Eddie Howe saying it was business as usual. I don't know where it's come from. But I just think there's a lot going off behind closed doors with Trippier's private life and all that. But Matthew, we will never know, mate.
Yes, I agree, and I'm totally with you. I actually, when people ask me about transfers, Adam, on the daily, I get asked all the time, like whether it's in WhatsApp groups, whether it's like just friends. I don't really keep, unless it's a big one like Mark Gay, for example. I don't keep an eye on who we linked with. I don't, because I'm a little bit like you. I prefer just to be in writing, like actually confirmed. Yeah. I get that, but at the risk of maybe putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5, I think we probably get closer to 4 because you're telling me, as it's been talked about across Twitter and whatnot, that he's had his name removed from his box, which is strange because we're going into a new season. So you would assume, I know he's having issues with his family. We led to believe. I don't really want to get into that too much. No. But maybe he's cutting costs. I don't know. Maybe he's maybe shopping at Aldi now rather than Marks and Spencer's. Who knows? But for him to be removing the name from his box, and also, as we're looking at now, which is the headline in front of me, that he's put his house on the market, it's all quite interesting, isn't it? And I'll come over to you, Lee. First and foremost, whilst we're on that topic, do you believe this? And I know it is being reported by most that he wants out. And how do you feel about it if it is true?
Yeah, I mean, there's always rumours about, but certainly some of the journalists that are saying it, like David Ornstein, I've seen, he's reporting it, and he's generally on the money with these sorts of things. So if it's true, then I kind of get it. I mean, he doesn't want to be playing second fiddle, does he? He wants to be playing, which is fair enough. He was the first through the door after the takeover when we were nigh on bottom of the league, could barely win a game, and he didn't even have a relegation release clause in his contract either, I don't think. So
it's mad that, isn't it? Absolutely mad that to think that he didn't
the league team of the season before. So he took a gamble on us. I don't think he owes us anything. Mm-hmm. So if it's time for him to go, it's time for him to go. I mean, at least we might be able to get some money for him rather than him running his contract down and then.
What did we pay for him, lads? I can't remember how much we paid for him.
12 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't 20. A lot. It wasn't a lot at all.
You see, I watched it the other night, under 23s, and his class still shone through. I watched it, it's like with Matty Target, but I just think, I mean, Eddie Howe's interview, he said he come back from Euros, he just come back, and that's why he left him on bench. And obviously people saying, played him at under 23s to get some minutes in his legs. And then to watch that this morning, but you can speculate as much as you want, but you'll never know. You'll never know because, we don't know. I got a direct line to Eddie Howe and his people. Nobody has really. You can just make assumptions and snippets of information, or assumptions make ass out of you and me. That's what I always taught. And until it's like when transfers coming in, unless they're in a black and white shirt in there, so putting it there, or they've gone, then you believe it. But
yeah. I mean,
I
for me,
don't want him to go because I thought Trippier would see his career out in Newcastle.
Mhm.
But I just think there's more going off behind closed doors than what people realise. But and then we'll never know. We'll never know. But anyway, that's me done. That's my speech done. That's it.
No. I mean, I literally said to one of my friends who's away in God knows on what time zone at the moment. He texted us today asking what I thought about it. And I said to him, like, I get it. I feel like Trippier, where he's at now, probably feels like he's got one more challenge in him. Like, realistically, to be playing at a high level, he probably has one more. Because, I imagine a player with the level of his experience, he probably's still, you get that buzz of coming into a new club, right? New project. How can I hit the ground running? Lots of things excite you about going to a new team. And I think he knows he maybe has one left in him. He's looking at Tino Livramento, who can I just say I'm a massive fan of. I will put a large amount of money on it that I think Tino Livramento will be in the World Cup squad in 2026. I think he will. I really, really rate him. And I think he's looking at him like, I don't want to say my work is done here, but to think where this club is from when he came into now, and he's captained us through most of that, I think there is an argument that my work is done is a fair statement for Trippier. And
yeah, you're right, mate. You are right.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, he's just come back from the Euros where he played probably more than a lot of us expected him to. Maybe because of Luke Shaw's injury at left back and whatnot. That's probably brought him into the team a bit more. But he's still playing at the highest level. And I tell you what, if he'd have played on Saturday against Southampton, I would have had no issues at all, because people are saying he made mistakes last season. He did this, he did that. Yeah, he maybe did, but how many players can we honestly say have never had a dip in form in their life? Like, I don't see it as that much of a big deal. But yeah, obviously we're not here to talk about Kieran Trippier all night, but this is one of the bits of news. So if he left, which, we led to believe it could be likely in the next week. I think there's a week left of the transfer window open now as I'm recording this. Are we okay in that area, or does that leave us? Of course, it leaves us short, like mathematically. But at fullback, I know Kraft can slot in there. We've still got Ashby, who, as far as I understand, did not set the world alight at Swansea by any means. I saw some of the comments from Swansea fans on social media in the aftermath of him coming back. Are we super short there now if he goes?
I think we'll be a bit light. Obviously, lighter than we were last season. I think what I've seen, they are looking to move Ashby out at least on loan again. But if Trippier goes as well, then they might have to keep him, just because, unless they've got someone up their sleeve that's been kept very secret about.
Well, you make a very good point there, Lee, in terms of like what we forget in this. And I know we'll say, look, Trippier's been good to us. We should be good to him if he wants to go. But if Newcastle United are short of players at right back, we are more than within our rights from a club and a performance across the season point of view to say, do you know what, Trips? We love you. We want you to be happy. We want you to go and get a new challenge under your belt. But we need you. We are a little bit short. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. Interesting. I'll put some comments, because I've had some comments on this, which I like to see. By the way, Adam, actually, I'm going to remove this slide, because when I put a comment, your face gets blocked. Actually, it might still happen. There you go. There's your face. Your face is staying in the screen. So Phil said Trips is 34 next month. That's pretty old for a fullback. Let's face it, because a fullback is a very demanding position, not dominating. Be grateful for what he did when he came in. Mistakes were slipping last season, as we've talked about. Probably time for him to finish his career somewhere else. Not now where he can be first choice. We'll all wish him well. I don't doubt that at all, Philip. We, of course, will all wish him well. Trips was, in terms of playing staff, the catalyst for change and improvement, 1,000,000%. Christopher, definitely. I agree. Yeah, I think we all in agreement on that. He did not have to come to Newcastle, who were in dire straits. Can I just say? I think
second from bottom, or third from bottom.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did he make his debut in that awful third-round cup defeat at St James's, Cambridge? Yeah. Oh my God!
You know what? I was sat outside. I was there. It's the dugout. Terrible.
Contact talks. What's Stephen saying? Hopefully he stays and accepts he's going to be used more as a squad player. If we sell for 10 mil, who do we sign for that money as a capable replacement? That's a fair point. I mean, I don't think the money that we would get for him would buy that player. We'd have to add to that money. But whether Eddie Howe, even from a, I mean, we'll touch on the rest of the transfer window in a second. This transfer window, depending whose opinion you are getting, has not been the greatest. So for us now to chuck the spanner in the works of having to add a right back to that list is a tricky one. I'm not going to go down
the loan market.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go. I avoid like the player going down the rabbit hole of who's available and who isn't, because that's a huge conversation. Like there's so many players out there. I won't share that comment. There's a comment I won't share on the screen. Paper talk, if you ask me. I like that kind of, you know, we've talked about that. It sounds like you're more in Adam's corner on that one. I think some of Tripp's mistakes can be excused with everything he had going on. Yeah, we led to believe he's gone through massive issues with his misses. That is going to affect you on the pitch, 100%. We've got our read Jack. Trips has been an amazing signing. If he stays, great. If he goes, we definitely need a replacement. Yeah, I agree. You know, if Ashby and Kraft, who we don't really like to see Kraft at right back, let's be honest, he's done a job for us there. But what he offers in the final third at right back is almost non-existent. No. I think I can remember him pinging a couple of good balls in his time, but very, very randomly. Right. Anyway, Chris is apologising for his comment. I don't know whether you guys can see the comments coming in from you.
I did see the comment.
Yeah, I've logged in. Yeah.
I don't want to get banned by sharing it on the screen. That's all. Right. So, of course, we are in action on Sunday at Bournemouth, which, funnily enough, the last time we were there, it didn't quite go to plan, and the man we've just been talking about was heavily involved in an incident, which I think we all remember. It wasn't a fun old trip down to Bournemouth the last time we went. And Tom, I know you're not watching this. The gentleman who was involved in this spat with Trips, who, by the way, is
how many injuries we got? Yeah, how many injuries
we got? We all remember that. Lovely guy. But can I just say, I will argue that till the hilt. I know it's all forgotten about now. The gentleman who was involved in this is a lovely guy. Hopefully, someone I'll see this weekend. But yes, Bournemouth. Now, their transfer window, you could argue, because, you know, I'm not going to share who their danger men have been so far this season because we only one game in. We know they got a draw last week. What I'm going to talk about first and foremost before we get into the opposition, Southampton was a very good win. Winning with 10 men in any circumstances for 70 minutes of a football match is a good win. But what I want to ask you about, and I know it's maybe hard to dissect such a small period of the game, what do you think needs to change from what you maybe saw from individuals, but mainly what you saw in the first 30 minutes? I'll start with you, Lee, on this one. Do you think we were okay? And well, you know, I know it's the first game. Or did you think we looked a bit, you know, I've heard things about leggy and...
Yeah, I don't know. We just weren't quite that. I mean, we looked pretty good. I think we remember the first 5 minutes or so. We seemed to be getting on the ball, getting forward. But then as soon as Southampton started getting on the ball, to be fair to them, Southampton were moving the ball quite well. They weren't really threatening much, but they were keeping us off the ball. And that was when we had 11 men.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, it's just maybe a bit more intensity, which that's opening day. Maybe it is going to be a bit like that. I think pre-season has been a bit disjointed with players being away on international duty and only coming in at the last minute. And Gordon looked a bit short of his best. Lewis Hall had a tough game as well, so that entire side really was a bit of a problem for us most of the game.
Mm-hmm. So, again, going into Sunday then, does anything concern you? Like I say, it's a hard game to dissect on Saturday because of the circumstances of Fabian Schär's red card. But do you think certain players, like you've just talked about, you would hope have stepped things up a little bit this week?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if he makes any changes tomorrow other than the enforced one due to the red card.
Mm-hmm.
It's one game. They'll have been in training all week. They'll know they weren't at the best.
Mm-hmm.
Just see, it's one game. Give them another chance at the weekend, see how they go. If you get 2-3 games in and they still struggling, then you start worrying a bit. But yeah, first game, it can happen. As long as he hit the ground running sooner rather than later, then yeah, it's fine, really.
Yeah.
Just reading comments, mate. Dan Box has made this comment, and I agree totally with him. And I think somebody else has agreed with him. Shouldn't have played defensive. Newcastle United on Saturday didn't look like they wanted to go and score, to be fair. During that before that man got sent off, but before Shaw got sent off, Newcastle didn't look like they were going to score. Isaac didn't look hungry. And everyone's going to agree that with Gordon. There's a lot of speculation about Gordon, but they just didn't look like they wanted to go out and score. They just went out and knocked balls about until they got the man sent off. Like Eddie Howe said in his interview afterwards, it needed that. Because after that...
So when you say, Adam, the players didn't look hungry, that you didn't feel like, we were going for those goals, if you like. Are you talking solely about pre-red card, or are you talking about the whole match in general?
No, pre-red card, mate. I think the red card were a knee-jerk reaction. First home game at season, pal. You know St James's Park, as long as everyone watching this does. Now, I think they didn't hit the ground running at all. And I think, wow. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, he doesn't look like he wants to play for Newcastle anymore, or he looks late, or he whatever. Until that red card came along, it took that to motivate certain individuals, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, well, you can see who plays with the heart. That's what I'm saying. You can see who played with the heart in that match.
I think it was a mix. I mean, obviously, I'm sharing some comments on the screen. I mean, Christopher said it was a typical post-international tournament first opening game. I think that's a fair point. I think that is a fair point to a degree. Because I still believe that we are in a position where Bruno makes us tick. When Bruno is firing, we are firing. And I know he put his body about, and I know he won his crucial free kicks in the second half when the goal was getting tough. But I generally don't think Bruno influenced the game very much. I think Joe Linton literally outshone every player on the pitch. I think every Southampton fan watching that, and when I put me dealing with Eddie Howe's Mags episode together, there were a fair few comments in the forums about Joe Linton. I thought he was just a man above every other player on that pitch. But Bruno looks like a player to me who's come back. He's had how long did he have? Maybe a week and a half off. He's been flown to Japan away from the rest of the squad who've already been in Benton. Played a little bit in horrible heat. And I don't know. Lots of people have been worried about this season, I think, about are we going to see fatigue, the Euros, pre-season, now going to 1 million countries, lots of demands, all of these things. I just think we look like a team that I think I'll lean. I would probably lean a little bit more towards what you were saying earlier, Lee, about us not being too worried about it being one game, but we will continue to get up to speed. And I think you were right in saying that every player will come away from that match thinking, we weren't great. But again, I just want to reiterate, as I think we all should, to win a football match at home with 10 men for 70 minutes is a very, very, very impressive win. It is.
Squeaky bum though, Matthew. Squeaky bum though, pal. I'll tell you that now. Oh, squeaky bum.
Yeah. They looked a better team, Southampton. Yeah. So another thing, I think Southampton surprised us. I know they won't have surprised Eddie Howe because he researches things when he should be out with his wife and kids. I think he sits at home researching opposition. He loves it. They were the possession team, highest in the championship last year, but I think we dropped a couple of yards in almost surprise at how Southampton were comfortable with the ball, and that played into the hands as well. To me, we didn't play defensive much. We should have pushed back and took chances. Yeah, I know we shared about that one.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Not run of the mill, but our football fans should be having fun. Oh, thank you very much, JJ. Tell you what, that's comment. That's comment of the week. Comment of the month. You get. I don't have a gold star, but you get my gold star. Jack, more creative down the middle in my transition from Renfrew was not great. Same with midfield and forward. This is pre-red card. Yeah. I think it's fair that we talk about pre-red card. Gary, what needs to change is fitness and intensity. Some players look understated, will be not up to pace. Extended leave. Yeah. I mean, we don't know what Trips and I know Trips didn't play, but we don't know what the likes of Bruno got up to after them tournaments. Straight on the peeve, straight to the local off license for 100 fags I don't think Fag's coming 100, do they? It was never a red. Oh, we're not getting the red card debate. Your Japan vlogs were class. I tell you what, there's a fair bit of love going on in the room for vlogs tonight. I'll take it all day. Yeah, so moving on to the opposition a little bit. So again, we can't talk too much about form. That's a bit pointless. Bournemouth got a hard-fought draw last week. Looked a bit of a drab affair. But we can talk about who the danger men could be for Bournemouth going into this one. And one man in particular, who I think Bournemouth fans, it's fair to say, will be very excited to see make his debut on Sunday, is this man, Evan Nielsen. And I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. It's probably like Evan Nielsen, something like that. But I don't know why I kind of went Chinese there. But yeah, and I'll go back on a slide and I'll share their transfer business. And I really don't want this to turn into how Bournemouth having a better transfer window than us, because I think some people looking at this who don't know some of the signings that Bournemouth have made might instantly think, Jesus Christ, does that not sum things up? And to me, I'll be honest, when I looked at this, I'm thinking they've been splashing some cash. So I know you can't see how much they paid for Evan Nielsen. I think my logo at the top right's blocking it out. It's like 37 million euros. So he's their record signing from Porto. He's got 60 goals in 154 games in the Portuguese league. He's only 24. And they've brought in Sinistera from Leeds, Unal, who they had on loan last season, I believe, from Getafe. They brought him in permanently. They've signed a right back from Juventus, a right back from Barcelona. They splash in the cash. I mean, you look at them fees: 23 million euros, 16 million euros, 37 million euros. So Bournemouth have taken that Solanke money and been like, right, don't wait up, love. I'm going to the shops. They have dived straight in and signed some players. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about these players. All I'm saying, the point I guess I'm trying to make is that Bournemouth will have a bit of spring in their step on Sunday. They've got some, especially this centre-forward, who they have not even got their hands on yet in terms of watching him play. So my next sort of question that I would put to you is both. First and foremost, with form not too much of a thing, we're almost pressing that reset button out after the weird circumstances of last Saturday's game. 11 versus 11 for hopefully the full 90 minutes. How are we feeling about Bournemouth on Sunday? Adam, I'll start with you this time. How are you feeling?
Well, listen to Eddie. I think this is the match. This is the match that it's going to show what we're about this season. If we're going to go away to Bournemouth, Eddie Howe's old club, after that win, that send-off, I think Newcastle need to go there and need to make a statement. And that's what I think.
And will he make that statement?
Well, Matthew, as I say, we can only speculate. We can only, guess. But as a football man, as somebody who watches a match, football all the time, I want Newcastle to go down there and play it like it's a cup final, just to prove. For Eddie Howe, because everyone's thinking, aren't they? All the pundits will be saying, Eddie Howe's old club, blah, blah, blah. Lloyd Kelly. I'd start Lloyd Kelly. I'd start him. And I would, I'd think, right, make a statement. So we'll see. We'll see.
Let's not forget here, there is a cup on the line. It's not just a league game. I mean, whoever wins this one wins the sought after Eddie Howe Cup. So it's not just about points. There's a very big trophy at stake here. Lee, how are you? We'll get on to team selections because there are a few debates there for obvious reasons after what happened last Saturday. So we'll touch on that in a second. But generally, how are you feeling ahead of the match at the Vitality?
Reasonably confident. I mean, it's not going to be an easy game. Bournemouth at home, as we found out last year, they can do a number on you. And to be fair, Newcastle everything was rotten that afternoon. Everything that afternoon was rotten.
I think I did. I'm just going to stop you there just very quickly. I think my post that I put out directly after that Bournemouth game, because I did check this to make sure it was right. The post I put out was a match summary, which was just this. Oh, where's that sound gone?
I remember seeing it.
Fucking dreadful.
Sorry.
Well, that
There we go.
was fucking dreadful.
That was. It was. I mean, don't get me wrong. At the time, I think we finally hit the fatigue wall in that match. We did. I know I shared the post about Trippier earlier. We just got back from Dortmund, and it just looked like that energy that we see from an Eddie Howe team. He played it for so long with the same group of players because of injuries, and it just looked like
They were running on empty.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. But Bournemouth were good, and I'm not taking that away from them. Bournemouth were good. Sorry, I stopped you in your tracks there, but yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, and as you've alluded to, they've obviously signed a lot of players in the summer. Losing Solanke on paper is a blow, but they've replaced him with a younger centre forward and half a team as well. So for a similar amount of money. So yeah, they'll have plenty of energy going into that game, first home game of the season for them. So yeah, it'll be a tough one, but I'll always back the team 2-1, something like that.
Well, we're getting our predictions at the end. Don't be giving too much away. I always like to keep the actual score predictions for the end. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, anyone watching this, please, if you've got any questions that want answered at the end, it can be about anything. You know, if you're curious whether this Newcastle top I've got on is a fake or a snide, you can ask it. If you're curious where Adam got that Newcastle ornament that looks like it's hanging in the background of his thing, you can ask it. Any questions at all, but please put #BWB because I have to go back through the comments and they are difficult to find. So please put #BWB and I'll spot them. And please, if you haven't already, whack that little likey Lou. Whack the subscribe if you're new around here. That'd be lovely as well. Right, so on to the team selection. Let's just get straight into that because that's going to be the big talking point. I think going into the Southampton game last week, none of us were really shocked at the team we saw. Maybe the Trippier Livramento debate was a one for some fans. But, you know, we expected Bruno, Joelinton, Longstaff. We expected Isak, Gordon, Murphy. Now we've got a couple of cats amongst the pigeons. Is that a term? But obviously, we have Shea now suspended for 3 matches. So you would assume that Eddie Howe needs to play a left-footed centre-back and a right-footed centre-back. It's very rare that we would play 2 left-footed or 2 right-footed. So I'll start with you, Adam. I'll come back to you on this one. Who's your centre-back partnership?
Oh, Kraft and Burn.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think
that's fair. What about you, Lee?
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, the fact that he bought Kraft on in the last game, I think that's
what I'm getting at, the league.
A big guy, little guy as well. It just works for him, doesn't
it?
Yeah. I think those two would know each other. Probably is better than Lloyd Kelly coming in. And then if Lloyd Kelly comes in, you're not going to move Dan Burn really over to the right side of the back four, yeah? So you're taking Dan Burn out to accommodate Lloyd Kelly. It doesn't really make much sense, I don't think.
Not going back to Bournemouth, no.
Yeah, and I think in Kraft and Burn, they play with each other on the training ground again and again and again. So I think that's fair. My answer would have been exactly the same, looking at the options that we have, because you know it's almost a fight between Kraft, Kelly, Burn, and yeah, that's really the option. So yeah, I think that's very, very fair. I've got a BWB coming in. So Bournemouth Sunday at 2 p.m. Personally, I'm confident because I feel like we didn't really see the real Newcastle on Saturday. I'm not looking into Saturday's game too much in terms of it was such a weird one. I thought we actually learned more about the team than what some people gave us credit for because we didn't see that defensive resilience last season. I would even go as far as to say we don't get those 3 points last season in the circumstances we were in. So I think we learned a lot from a defensive point of view. Let me just share some comments on the screen coming in. I think we can sneak a 2-1 win. I'm got a good result and get the season restart after a bit of strange circumstances in the opener. Yeah, I imagine a lot of fans going down to Bournemouth on a 4:00 in the morning bus will probably be just pressing that mental reset without a doubt because, you know, you can take things from Saturday, you can worry about the first half an hour. You can say he didn't look great, or we can just literally
This is where
get
it
on with
starts.
it.
This is where it starts.
So that's the centre-backs ticked off. Now, I would assume that maybe you would both tell me that you wanted the same midfield and the same forward line, but I'm not going to assume that outright, because I've read in the week, I think Craig Hope shared, he does like to shit stir a little bit, if I'm being totally honest, because that's what gets him clicks on social media. Craig Hope shared that Harvey Barnes was incredibly unhappy to not be in the starting lineup on Saturday after his form in pre-season and how he's been training. I think that's fair. And this goes back to a debate that we've been having. I've mentioned on plenty of these live streams. I've mentioned it on my own videos that I've put together on YouTube. Harvey Barnes is looking to me like quite an expensive backup to Anthony Gordon, because Eddie Howe, if he wanted to play him on the right-hand side this season, would have trialled it in pre-season. He didn't. I never saw Harvey Barnes on the right-hand side once in pre-season.
He can't play on right-hand side, Matthew. He can't play on right-hand side.
Yeah, so
Gordon's good on right-hand side.
I don't understand his frustration, but are you keeping the team the same? I guess is the point I'm getting to. Are you bringing Barnes in?
No.
And you?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, for me, I'd keep the same team.
Exactly the same.
Obviously,
yeah.
Other than Kraft for share, but yeah, it's keep Gordon on. Obviously, Barnes might have done all right in pre-season, but I think Murphy was our top scorer in pre-season, so you can't really just leave him. And he only got half an hour last week before getting hooked because of the sending off. So I think he's perfectly justified to warrant a place in the team. And Anthony Gordon, you can't realistically leave him out, even if he is a bit short of his best. He needs games because he will win us matches through the season. He just needs games.
Yeah, I'm with you on Gordon. I think Gordon is too good to leave out. He's dynamite on that left-hand side. And yes, did he look a little bit short of the pace? As a very drunken guy at half-time pointed out to me on Saturday, did he? He was very drunk. Down on the concourses, he was very, very insistent that there was something off for Gordon because he didn't turn around and clap the fans when he took both corners in the first half. I understand, and when I reflected, because it was in my corner, I agreed that was a little bit weird. He would normally give it the arms up. He would normally really be pumped. So I do think there was maybe something a little bit off with him on Saturday, not just physically, but mentally as well. But again, it's all speculation on what that could be, and I'm not going to get into that. Did he have a bad morning? Did someone bang his car? Did he burn his toast for his favourite breakfast? We don't know. We don't know what. I was in a bad mood before I jumped on this because I had technical faults. You know, we've all got our problems. But it's funny. It's funny you mention Jacob Murphy, Lee, because my potentially unpopular opinion, and please everybody in the comments let me know whether this is a very unpopular opinion, is that I think Jacob Murphy, if we do not sign a right winger in the window, which, you know, unless we have a bit like when we brought Isak, and if something really big happens, I think Jacob Murphy could have a good season. I do. Yeah. I think his numbers by the end of the season, if he plays regular football for us, assists could be pretty high. Yeah, he could do plenty waves. He could do plenty funny grins. I do. I don't think he's a world beater. I don't think anybody watching this video thinks Jacob Murphy's a world beater. I don't think any other football club does, because we'd be knocking back bids for him if that was the case. But he's a direct player with a bit of pace who, when you play in a system that involves a high, intense press for most of the match, I think he suits that system quite well. And I think Eddie Howe's quite fond of him. And I think Eddie Howe was fond of Almiron for the same reasons once upon a time. But that man has fell so far off a cliff, I do not mind saying that I will happily not only buy him an Uber for us to get some money in the pot to sell him, I would pay for an Uber premium. And I'm sure I'm going to get somebody say that's disrespectful. He's a great servant. He's a good squad player. I personally think he's got to the point now where
I would tell him he had a right foot as well. That's what
exactly. No, well, I would get the taxi man who I've paid for to tell him that, and the taxi ride to wherever he was going. Right, I've had some comments coming in on these debates that we've been having. David says, I would like to see Barnes and Gordon start. Right, well, David, you've got to give me more than that. Tell me in what way would you do that? I'm assuming because Barnes has never played on the right-hand side in his life and Gordon is a little bit more versatile. I would assume you mean Barnes on the left and Gordon on the right. Please let me know if that's what you do mean. Does Trippier start? I reckon yes, if what Eddie Howe said in the press conference is true. Oh, Jack,
Yeah.
that's a controversial one to bring Trips in this week. Not controversial in the way that he wouldn't do a job for us, but, you know, it's not just a couple of people are talking about him wanting out. It's being pretty highly speculated. Gordon's in the building. Can't afford another centre-back red card or centre-back injury. Anyone know what ref we have this week? And I'll be totally honest with you, Gordon, I don't check the referees anymore because I'm at the stage
You're all the same.
I don't think...
Same.
Please, somebody tell me if there's a really good one, because I think once upon a time there was a couple. As much as he got a lot of flack for the issues he had when he had to pretty much flee the country, I never used to be a huge... I used to have a bit of a soft spot for Mark Clattenburg. I thought he just sort of said it how it was a little bit as a referee. What we got? We had a great pre-season. Yeah, I'm assuming he's talking about Jacob Murphy. I agree. Gordon on the right. Yeah, I thought it was going to be Gordon on the right. I think him on the right and being able to cut in could cause problems. Yeah. But then you bring Jacob Murphy out just to accommodate Harvey Barnes. These aren't bad problems. What we all forget, and I know that the transfer window in general is a bigger conversation for a bigger day about whether it's been good, whether it's been absolutely god-awful as a window. What people forget is that we actually had some strength in depth last season before we got all the injuries. And I think that's matter of fact. We were able to play 2 teams against Girona and Brest
you're right,
weekends ago.
You are right.
Across 2 days where, yes, Miley's brother came in. He, for me, didn't look great. He still looks like he needs to get up to speed a little bit. I couldn't quite figure out what sort of player he was. So he was maybe one of the ones who played who isn't a first teamer. But apart from that, you know, we had one game we had Almira on, and I can't even remember the two teams. But then you've got Tonali to come into that mix. Then you've got Callum Wilson to come into that mix. Then you've got Lascelles and Botman at centre-back to come in that mix. And Lewis Miley, God, do not forget our teenage superstar. He picked up an unfortunate injury. Our squad, if you were to tell me the window's shut tomorrow, I would be frustrated, yes. But would I be absolutely kicking and screaming saying this is a joke? No, because I think our strategy currently is to only sign players if they are going to add value. Oh, Matty's in the building. He's throwing a curveball. Isaac on the left and Gordon up top. That's not... I genuinely, because it's been a while, I forget Isaac can play on the left. I do forget that. But then I wasn't a fan of Gordon. I don't know what you guys think. I wasn't a fan of Gordon playing through the middle when Eddie Howe tried it last season.
No. All right. Right.
Yeah. Murphy has a
just a bombshell, Matty. Just a bombshell.
Yeah, go on then. I like bombshells.
Jordi Maradona.
Oh, leaving.
Yes, exactly. Now that's not acceptable.
It saved our bacon though, didn't it? Let's face it.
I get that. I know it's another topic. I know it is, but
yeah,
should never have let him go. Never. But anyway, I just thought I'd say that.
No, I've got a funny comment to deflect. The more whiskey I drink, the more your mic looks like you have a big beard. Well, I'm looking at
Matthew, tell them that the mic's not even working. Tell them that the mic's not even working.
That's not true. Do not believe these people on this live stream. They are chatting rubbish. What I will do tonight, though, and I've tried this before, and everyone's been a little bit on the shy side. I am now going to share the link to join this live stream, and you can come on and give us your thoughts on the Bournemouth game, your thoughts on all of the formation issues and the Kieran Trippier transfer issues that we've had. So I'm going to share it in the chat now, and I will wait to see if there are any questions come through. If nobody wants to jump on, that's totally fine, but I would love anyone to feel comfortable enough to dive in and have a bit of banter. So I am sharing that stream now. Just click it. It sends you straight through. I'll keep an eye out from the bottom for anyone joining. But on a side note, before we get into score predictions, before we get into all that good stuff, I do have something I want to share. That's not really relevant to too much, but I played in a business I just want Eddie Howe to know that I am available if he needs me this weekend. I played in a business charity tournament this afternoon for my company, and one of my goals that got us through to the knockout stages, can I just say, from the group, we ended up getting to the semi-finals where we got beat on penalties. One of my goals got shared on the stream for the page running. So I'm going to this is my only moment anyone will ever record a footage of me scoring a winning goal. So I'm sticking it on the screen. And if no one cares, then nobody cares, which I know nobody does. But look at this. Bang! Boom! That's getting played again. Little flick, one touch, out the feet, bang, bottom corner.
That's
Eddie.
That's not you.
I know Eddie Howe watches these streams.
No, he's a regular, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, massively.
Him and Mad Dog.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, if Mad Dog keeps begging me to be on these streams, I can't do with it. Right. Before we go any further, I do have to share, as I always do on these live streams, some lovely. I'm not as organised for this one, I must admit. Not as organised as I normally am. As I say, I've been too busy smashing goals in the bottom corner.
I thought it was from keeper's legs.
Well, I'm still, whatever it was, I'm taking it because it got us through to the knockout stages, so I'm happy as Larry. Right, it is time for, and I know everybody likes these. Everybody likes these. Oh, why is my video doing that? Stats. Yeah, that's that right. It's time for some black and white banter. Stats going into this game. Sorry, I keep shouting. I don't know why I'm shouting. I've had a can of Coke. I'm getting a little bit excited. Right. Where am I? Yeah, I'm not actually drinking tonight. I'm letting the side down on that front, you could argue. Oh, I've lost my stats. Right. So, I'm just saying so because I'm giving myself a couple of seconds to get them back up. Stats. You can tell it's been a while since I've done these live streams. BBC. Boom. Let's get them up. Here we go. Right. Bournemouth. Newcastle United are looking to win their opening 2 Premier League matches in the season for the first time since, can anybody guess? Can anybody guess the last time we won our first 2 matches of the season?
Oh, it was only about 3 seasons ago, wasn't it?
No, it's pretty depressing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Not like Robson times.
Yeah, we drew, didn't we? Yeah, we drew. Oh.
It's pretty depressing. It was the 97-98 season under Kenny Dalglish, would you believe? That is a pretty brutal one.
That is bad. Thanks, Matthew, for that. Thanks, Matthew. I'm to bed now. I'm to bed.
Well, we're due to win 2 in a row for once, then, aren't we?
I like to get the really positive stats out the way first, of course.
Of course you do.
Right. This is a slightly more positive one. In 2024, only Cole Palmer, who we know banged them in for fun last season, has been directly involved in more top-flight goals than Alexander Isak, who scored 13 and set up 3. So long may that continue. Alexander Isak, basically, in 2024 is an absolute beast. And unfortunately, my final stats, I'm not going to bore you with too many, is not the best one. So we call this the Eddie Howe Cup at the start of this live stream. Eddie Howe is winless in each of the last 9 Premier League meetings between Bournemouth and Newcastle. 5 with Bournemouth and 4 with Newcastle. So basically, Eddie Howe absolutely hates this fixture no matter who he is managing. David's just said, just going to amend my account now, Matthew. He's Aka now. He meant Aka. Sorry, it says his account. He meant Aka. That's what my stats do. They absolutely crap on any positivity you had. Right, that's the stats over with. Let's get into, if I can just get it up. We are having a few technical difficulties. Right. Play for Sorry, I do have everything saved for this. I did sit at my laptop for a little bit. I promise you. It just hasn't gone as smoothly as I would like. So I've got a little quiz for you guys, as I like to do. I like to put people on the spot and make them really nervous that they're going to get every question wrong. That's just what I do. Right. So what we are going to play a little bit of, which I introduced at the back end of last season, is
Game show nobody's talking about. How much do you not like? Game show nobody's talking about.
Yeah, it's how much do you know? Right, gentlemen, we are going to play. This is going to be a hard one. I'm going to go to each. Well, actually, this particular quiz that I'm going to throw at you is actually open to the room. So what I'm looking for, no cheating from the both of you, and everyone in the comments, please play along. I want you to name as many, and I'm going to time it for 2 minutes. I'm going to put on the clock. How many players can you name that have played for both Newcastle and Bournemouth? So I'm going to start the clock in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Matt Ritchie.
Correct.
Wilson.
Correct.
Lloyd Kelly.
Correct. Howie Lee. It's open room. That's 3 to Adam.
I can't remember anymore.
I know.
I've done him.
Obviously more.
Who's he asking? That's not fair.
No, well, once one is answered, that one's done. So it's if someone ends up being 6-0 up, 7-0 up, then that person's won. It's as many as you can rhyme off. Please don't look at the comments. That is the one thing I would ask. Did you say Fraser?
I did, yeah.
Correct. That's 4. Oh, Lee. I thought this would have been your game, Lee. Any more? Oh, I might have to get to some clues. Should I get to, my laptop's about to die. That would be a disaster. There we go. That one's sorted. I can give some clues. There's one player who was actually quite good for us, who was, I don't want to say it too bluntly because it'll give it away too much. He had a pretty tragic end, which is bringing things down to a little bit of a morbid level. Correct. There's one. 4-1. He's swatting flies whilst we go.
I were actually.
Right, other one. Midfielder. Didn't really do much for Newcastle. Probably did a little bit more at Bournemouth.
Gosling.
Correct. 4-2. I tell you what, from the clue I just gave you, that was pretty good.
Somebody's always smoking. I can see his glass reflection. So I can see he smells you up.
I live alone. There's no one in the house.
By the way, I am looking at I really hope you two aren't looking at the comments coming in. That's the last thing I want because that is basically cheating. Yeah, please don't do that. But I am seeing the comments coming. I can't share them on the screen because that would be a bit of a stupid game. I will remove that. I thought. Right, next clue. He was a quite good striker for us around the time that we last clinched European football before, obviously, Eddie Howe got us it. But he wasn't with us very long.
Oh.
He scored a hat-trick for us in a Premier League match.
It's not Rondon, is it?
No, we're talking early 2010s.
Pardew era, wasn't it?
Sorry?
Pardew era.
Yeah, around then. Don't quote me on that, but it's around that time. Definitely in terms of years, it's around that time.
Wow. I was away then.
His hat-trick was against West Ham. I remember it quite well. We battered them at St. James's Park. He was never the starter for us, but he came in as a striker and he did a job. I didn't actually realise he played for Bournemouth. Are you going to pass on that one?
I don't know.
It was Leon Best.
Leon Best.
Next one. This one's quite a tricky one. I'm gonna finish on this one and this one because you've got most of the other bigger ones without going too complicated. This one is a very difficult one. He was a defender that went on to have a very good career, but he chose not to stay with Newcastle under Bobby for certain reasons. So, Bobby, this is the wild card one again that I definitely did not know played for Bournemouth, and he didn't play for them for very long.
I don't know.
There was money involved in the reason he left, and that's why he always left a bit of a bitter taste in Newcastle fans' mouths.
Yeah.
No.
No.
When did Titus Bramble ever leave for more money, Matty? Come on, I hope that's not a serious answer. The correct answer, because I'm not seeing it right in any comments neither. The correct answer was Sylvain Distin. Sylvain Distin. I think he ended up going. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I was quite young at the time. He ended up going to Man City because he was offered more money from them, rather than deciding to stick with us when I think Sir Bobby wanted him to stay permanently. Right, so scores on the doors. I believe the final scores there were 4-2 to Adam. So well done, Adam.
No, 4-4. It's 4-4.
4-4.
Well, we're all equal, aren't we?
Sorry, I've missed. Sorry, Lee, that's doing you a massive disservice. I've missed 2 of your correct answers there. Then I apologise.
Sure,
right, so it was 4-2. You're confusing me now. Right, we'll call it 4-2. Right. Finally. We've done our quiz. We've done our stats, as I like to do on these. We've talked about Bournemouth. We've talked about us. We've talked about all the gossip that's been going on in the week. So, before I get onto questions, hashtag BWB, if anyone wants to get any quick questions before I wrap this live stream up, please do so now.
I've got one. What season is this from? Is that what shirt? What season is that? Is that 2020?
That's sort of, isn't it?
That's 2005 to 2007. 2005 to 2007.
It don't fit me anymore. It don't fit me anymore.
Yeah, before I get into those questions, I want everyone to join in with their answers as well, and I'll share some on the screen. What are our score predictions and our first scorers? I'm going to go to you first, Lee. What are you going for? You've got a £20 free ACCA. Not that I promote gambling on Black and White Banter. For anyone who's watching this, you've got a £20 free ACCA. Go for it. Who are you putting on?
I'm going 2-1 Newcastle, and I'll go Isak for goal scorer.
Boom. What about you, Adam?
1-0 Newcastle.
First scorer?
Gordon.
Boom. Both wins for Newcastle. I like it. I'm going to go for Newcastle 3-1. I don't know why I'm fancying us to score 3. I feel like Eddie Howe won't have been happy with Saturday's game in certain elements. We will have trained hard this week. And I think Anthony Gordon, that wasn't Anthony Gordon. That wasn't Bruno, in my opinion. And I think Bruno actually said it when he came out in his post-match. All of these players will have a little bit more in the belly with 11 versus 11 to really show what they can do. And almost start the season. Although we won on Saturday, like start the season. Right, let's get some predictions on the screen. David, 2-1. He's gone for both scores, you see. I like that. That would pay a lot of money out.
Are you off, mate?
Sorry, mate?
Are you off?
Oh, good question. My dog sit has actually cancelled on me at the very last minute.
Mate, I'll look after Maggie.
I wish you could. I frantically am trying to find last minute dog care, which isn't ideal. So as it stands right now, I'm not booked onto the bus, but I do have my match ticket, unfortunately. So I'll just play it by ear. 2-1 for David. Jack 2-1. He's at Gordon. Hang on. David's 2-1. He's at Gordon. Jack's 2-1. Gordon. There's a bit of copying going on here. Marcus, will Trips be starting Sunday? Your guess is as good as mine, Marcus. I would be surprised because I do think Eddie Howe's press conference today. Yes, he said he didn't know much about the news, but he also said he couldn't. He said he couldn't guarantee him staying. So I don't think Trippier's getting played at this stage. Jessica, hi. I saw a comment from you earlier. I just didn't share on the screen about Pixie not getting his hand shook by Trippier that night when he was raging down at Bournemouth. 3-0 Gordon first scorer. Love it. Absolutely love it. Clean sheet and 3 goals. Oh, and then Matty spoils what was a clean sweep. We've had a clean sweep of everyone feeling confident, and someone comes in with a score draw. Tell you what, Matty, I bet you tonight had chicken, broccoli, and rice and vanilla ice cream, because that's exactly what that scoreline prediction is. Gordon's going 1-0 Longstaff with a 25-yard grass cutter. Hey, Longstaff's got it in his locker. People can have their opinions on him as a footballer, but he does have a strike in his locker from time to time. His goal record isn't too bad.
No. Hey. Welcome. 40 million. Joe Linton scores again.
Wasn't sure about the start to that, Adam. I don't know how many sides you've had sat in that little room. I think you've been waiting for this to start for a couple of hours. Marcus, 2-0 Newcastle, clean sheet. He's up with the double. Jobs are good, and we all go home on the 8.5 hour bus. Absolutely brought out our heads. And it's a bank holiday Monday. Happy days. Hannah's in the building. Hannah, you will be back on here soon. Couldn't do tonight, but you couldn't do tonight, but you sat watching. What is going on with that? I'm going to be asking questions. 2-1 Newcastle, Joe Linton again. Joe Linton again. I love it. 2-0. Come on, JJ, I need your first scorer. 2-0. Ken's in the building as well. Yes, Ken, you did just see me score that goal for our work. That did happen. You can now tell people that you've seen the footage. It did actually happen. You can tell people it worked on Tuesday. Dan Burns, a good, interesting shout for a first score as well. Murphy and Bruno on assist just to be cocky. Oh, Jack, you are taking this to a next level. Oh, Hannah's just joined, right? I'll believe you thousands wouldn't. Yeah, Matty's on the chicken and broccoli as we believed. Right, that's all the predictions in. A clean sweep apart from you, Matty. So thanks for that. Thanks for ruining what was a full positive Friday night bank holiday clean sweep. Right, let's go back and find some BWB. I don't think there's many, and I won't spend too long flicking, I promise. Let's go all the way to the top, please. If anyone wants to get a question in now, please do so while I'm flicking down. It can be about anything and everything. More creative, right. I didn't ask till halfway through the stream to go. Here we go. Christopher, listening to John Anderson on the radio last week, it sounded like Hall was struggling. Is he developing as expected, or did he need to buy to improve the left-back position? Right, I'll jump in first before I get your thoughts on this one. I didn't get the hype that some... I thought he was doing well, and it was nice to see an actual left-back coming in a season when Dan Burn was struggling. I didn't think Lewis Hall was doing incredible things for us at the back end of last season, like some Newcastle fans did. I saw lots of, unreal class, and I thought he offered us something we've never had for a long time, an attacking left-back. Great left peg, can pass the ball, but I didn't. And I think he started this season one game, and let's not forget that one game. You're right. John Anderson was probably right to criticise him a little bit on the radio because he misplaced some passes. He didn't have his best, and obviously he got hooked off. I think Eddie Howe thought that height with Southampton pumping balls in the box was the way to go. But I do think he's a very good player, and I do think he's going to be a really important player. Lee, I don't know what you thought. Obviously, you were at the game on Saturday. I know, assuming Christopher was obviously listening to it on the radio.
Yeah, he did seem to struggle a bit. As you say, last year he came into the team back end of the season, and he wasn't like Roberto Carlos reborn or anything, but he was perfectly solid. He did nothing wrong, which is Dan Burn had been doing things wrong. That was why it felt like it was a massive improvement.
Yeah. But, honourable. Sorry, I'll just jump in as well to add to that. Honourable mention to that very, very good goal line clearance. Honourable mention to that.
Just before he came off as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. Made up for it.
But yeah, it would have been 1-1 if it weren't for that.
Yeah, sorry, Adam. You've just came in at the right time, just as Lee was giving us his thoughts. So again, Lewis Hall, what were your thoughts? The main question from Christopher is not how he played necessarily. He's asking whether we need to strengthen that left back area in an ideal world, of course.
Yes. Oh, right. Well, yeah, Lewis Hall, yeah, he made up for his mistakes with that goal line clearance.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we do. We do need to because Dan Burns stepped into that role, hasn't he?
Yeah. And
out of position, and then obviously Lewis Hall's come in. So yeah, it'd be nice to have a natural, a player that plays in that natural position as a left back to come in. not. I mean, Lewis Hall can play anywhere off field. I think. Well, not anywhere, but I do really think that we need a left back or some cover, because I think Matty Target covered that area, didn't he?
Matty Target, who's he?
Yeah, exactly. I watched him overnight under 23s, and he played really well.
Oh, good. No, I'm glad. I didn't. That's one thing I didn't research too much in the. It was all about Trippier, wasn't it? Really. So I didn't actually read too much about Matt Target. So it's nice.
That season when we qualified for Champions League, Bruno was saying he needs to stay, and he stayed.
Mm-hmm.
And he covered that left back position, and he played absolutely blinding.
Next question. Is there a schedule for your stream? So, funny you mentioned that, Jack. So what I'm trying to do is be more organised than a man who is trying to work a job and also get a million bits of content out. Loved the reaction. Loved the reaction to Eddie dealing with Eddie Howe's mags. I was so worried that everybody watching that would think it was the worst one because I had so little content to use and I had sleepless nights over it. The reaction. Some people have actually said it's the best ever. So that was amazing to read. So if anyone watching this has watched Dealing with Eddie Howe's mags and enjoyed it, that's class. I was really, really worried that was the worst I've ever done. But yes, to answer your question, Jack, I've created a WhatsApp group with these two people. Hannah, if you're still watching, I do still need to add you. I know you've sent us your number. I will throw you in there as well. Where I've got a schedule. The next one, I think, is going to be Tuesday. So it'll be Tuesday evening. I was going to do it Monday, but I thought I'll probably still be putting my match vlog together for YouTube on Monday, realistically, if I go to the game. And it's a bank holiday as well. And my head will probably beat my ass if I've gone to the match as well. So, yeah, there will be... scheduling them all is quite difficult. It takes a long time because I've got to get images and blah, 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 blah. But I will try and schedule a couple. Next question. Do we think Longstaff's days of starting our numbered once Tonali comes back? Surely. I think that's a very, very fair question, Sherry. That's a question that I think most Newcastle fans assume, that our midfield three is going to be Bruno, Joelinton, Tonali. It seemed to be working in areas when we played it out, in an ideal world, a £55 million man should be coming into our midfield. So I think his days will be numbered once Tonali gets up to speed. I don't know whether you disagree with me on that, or I'll start with you, Adam, as you puff those cheeks out.
Well, if you remember when we qualified for Champions League, you have to look at Longstaff, and a lot of people criticised him, but some of the things he did on and off the ball, some of the passes he played that won us matches, he also scored goals. And I just think, well, yeah, no, he's not this naming like lights and that, but I tell you what, crikey me, he puts his shift in and he plays with heart, doesn't he? He plays with his heart. So, but we'll see. I think the problem with Newcastle is in that midfield, they've got so many players in every area, in the same area, that, I just think it's hard to pick from.
Well, I feel like these questions are very, very much getting some slight on-the-fence answers. So, Adam, I'm going to come to you again. I know you've stayed on the fence with that response. Are Longstaff's days of starting numbered once Tonali comes back? Starting, not saying Longstaff's not going to get a look in.
Well, yes.
Right, okay. What about you, Lee?
Yeah, obviously it won't happen straight away. And he's not played for about a year.
No.
So
that's how Eddie works.
He'll be shattered after about 50 minutes. But give it a few weeks, a month or so, he'll get phased into the team. And I think once Tonali gets in the team, he stays in the team.
Sandro, ole, ole, ole. I did actually get sick of that song last season because he was never on the pitch. We were winning matches away from home and we were just chanting that, which if I was on the pitch, I'd be like, why the hell is this guy who's been banned for betting getting his name chanted?
You know why? Because he's still training every day. He's still training every day with lads, and that's why.
Yeah, fair. I still don't think that adds up to why we shouldn't be singing about the players on the pitch, though. David, the comments are still coming in. I think Willock, Miley are ahead of Longy also. I wouldn't necessarily say Willock's ahead of Longstaff because I think those two players are totally different. I see your point in terms of the quality of player. I would say Willock's on his days is a more quality player than Longstaff. But next question from Jessica. Will Tonali start for Forest or at least make an appearance? He has to,
He'll
doesn't he?
start.
It's the cup.
He'll start.
I honestly think the way that the Forest game has worked out dates-wise, it's such a blessing for us because before he can play against Tottenham, he's actually got an opportunity to get some minutes in his legs in the Carabao Cup. I think it's a real blessing for us for him. I don't expect him to play like 70 minutes by any means, but I think Eddie will be tempted to start him, definitely.
If he does start, though, I'd be surprised if he made it long into the second half. He might even bring him off at half time.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Right, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the questions that have come in. We've gone over the hour by a little bit. Obviously, I started a bit later. As always, keep us updated about YouTube, about streams. What do you want to join when I'm not trying to put the 3-year-old to sleep? Well, I can relate to that a little bit. My dog, as soon as I do these live streams, always destroys something. Last time she destroyed a cushion. This time she's ripped one of my slippers fully to shreds whilst I've been on this live stream. So I am now without footwear to walk around the house.
I'll donate you some more money to new slippers.
Ladies and gentlemen, all the comments have been amazing. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry if I didn't share anything on the screen that you have commented. I do try and get as many on there as possible. Bournemouth on Sunday. Everyone's positive, apart from you, Matty, with your boring score draw. That's great to hear. Onwards and upwards we go. We 1 for 1. We've got 3 points on the board. Fingers crossed on my next live stream, we'll be toasting another 3 points and maybe some more transfer news to talk about there as well. Get Black White Banter on all social media. Hit that like and hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Lee, Adam, it's been wonderful. I'm going to go and let you enjoy the rest of your bank holiday weekends. And away, Eddie Howe's. Hell of a long journey, Matt. Thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you all very, very soon.
See ya.